All right, welcome everybody. It's Doug here with the LincolnList.com. This is the week review for the 30th of March. I hope your month is going well. For that matter, I hope your year is going well. If you find yourself, kind of falling behind or you just don't think you're getting the best out of yourself as a trader, take a moment, visit the LincolnList.com, take the 14-day free trial to our live trade room, and see if our educational format can kind of put the pieces together for you and get you to that next level. So we'll begin here talking a little bit about what we might see here overall in the market. And I kind of thought last week after the Fed meeting that we would start to see, once we got that nice little push, we were getting very close to the resistance level here of 212. I thought there was a chance we might see an attempt up towards that number and possibly some new highs. But really the week was spent selling off. And if you see the first portion of the week was a pretty heavy sell off here. And then about here on Thursday, we just kind of walk right into the March 10th lows, the support that goes all the way back to February. So for right now, at least, this is a pretty good support level, this 204 area. You did a decent job of bouncing off of it on Thursday, but the action overall was weak on Friday. So we're kind of looking at that number right now. And I would say that, if it tests that area and you see a little bit more volume or a little bit more excitement coming into the market, then you might see this thing to push off a little bit. But now what we're looking at here, technically, at least from this point, is a nice little lower high. You got a lower high here with the overall market. And I think if you start to take this 204 out early on in the very portion of the week, that you're going to see this thing sell down here just a little bit deeper. The next resistance spot, of course, is the 197 area, but we'll worry about that a little bit later. But this 204 right now, at least for the short term, is a pretty important level. And it looks as if now, with the way the action has been since Thursday, that we might test that number again and maybe even go just a little bit lower. Now, as we look at a few different stocks, just because the market is chopping back and forth or having some off days, doesn't mean there's not stocks flying off the hook, because there are plenty of really great opportunities this week. One of them was this Kraft, and when the news first came out about their acquisition and everything, it was a great play. It had some really great setups. Now that we're looking and you start putting the numbers together, this is probably just a little too much froth kind of baked into this. A lot of the price, in my opinion, it's a little bit too steep here. But still, there was some spots that Friday you were looking at a couple of different levels here, and it looked like maybe it was really going to dig deep into that selling zone, but then it just kind of hits the VWAP there late in the day and then starts ripping. So there's still a chance this thing rolls above 90, but I want to start looking for some areas to short into. And what this thing has been doing the last few days is offering some great parabolic opportunities. So like these moves right here in the morning, you get this really nice parabolic and you get a little bit of red coming in first thing. It's a great opportunity to sink a nice little short in. And then it ramps up again and another nice short opportunity. So you see, once this thing starts to run, it has ramp up qualities, or at least today and over the last couple of days it's done that. So, if that kind of theme continues, you get a small pullback in the morning or maybe a breakdown, you start to see that ramp up again. It could offer a play to the long side. But I think now that you're seeing a stock that was just, down towards the 60s a few days ago, and now we're pushing almost $90. If we start to see strength early on Monday, I got to look for a spot to try to short this thing, because I think it's a little bit overvalued here, and the run has been just a little too much too soon. The same could be said for this HRS. This thing has, there was a lot of stocks that bounced. They were taken down early in the week with the SPY. And then some of them, when the market bounced on Thursday and Friday, they really took off. And this was one of them. You got two back-to-back days. And the thing about this stock is this thing is just grinding it out. You're getting parabolics, but it's staying relatively close to the short-term moving average. So when you get this ramp on Thursday, it just follows in Friday. And look at this thing. It barely breaks the 10 moving average intraday. I mean, this thing is like in super grind mode. Now, for me and what I do, I like to short the parabolics or the blow-off tops, just the moves that are unsustainable. So, for example, when I'm shorting a stock, I'm not saying it's going to go red for the day. I'm just looking to take advantage of a small piece of that move. So if a stock would ramp up $1 or $2, then maybe I could short that and pocket 50 cents or 60 cents on a quick downstroke. When they do this grinding thing, it makes it really difficult to short, because there's not enough pullback, or there's not enough euphoria to get the thing to really ramp up, and the pullbacks are so minimal, it's just not worth it. It just keeps just bleeding and melting upward. Now let's talk about the stock. There could be a shot where it comes up into the 78. You got to still look at the real big overhead resistance is at that number. I don't know if it's going to do that. Now, if it does it at this kind of rate, there's going to have to be probably a little bit more parabolic movement to it, but we'll see what happens. I think if the ideal scenario would play out to where this thing could gap or just run, or maybe people look at this over the weekend and say, hey, this is a hot chart, and they buy this sucker up first thing, and it shoots right into this resistance, I would short that. Now, if it's going to just melt up like this, and I doubt I don't know. Maybe I would if the intraday chart. I'll keep it up there. I'll keep looking at it. But overall, what you're looking at is a pretty bold move for this stock over 2 days. It's probably overdone as well. I'd like to short it, but I'm going to need a correct setup coming through the intraday. Same could be said with NVO. Got some really nice news on Thursday. And this too was a parabolic that held. So we kind of got back into that theme. Even though the market was down, we saw a lot of these stocks go parabolic and then hold a good portion of that, where kind of like what they did at the beginning of the month. Week ago, it wasn't really like that, but you saw how this thing kind of went parabolic, found a nice little support zone, and then perked up. I'm interested in shorting this one too, but only off of big moves for all of these, at least right now, at least in this space as well. I'm kind of looking for some shorts. Now, there's always that chance that if it does go over this 54.38 and you start attacking those pre-market highs up here from Friday, you've seen these things put in some stupid moves. I mean, there's like a dead chart here, hardly does anything, and all of a sudden you get really strong 2 days of volume. So still kind of keep this up on there. We'll see if there's some decent. Right now I'm kind of leaning a little bit to the short side, but it looks a little bit like Legend, which kind of started out with a big old para like this and took a day off and then started to make some new highs. So NVO, we'll keep this one up on the board. Also, this XLNX. Like Friday could have been kind of like association of like the sympathy plays were really running. So like late in the day, what you get is Intel and ALTR doing a merger or something like that, and these two stocks just go nuts. I mean, they just start going off the hook. It's like 1990 all over again. They start making these really late day parabolics. Well, this XLNX has nothing to do with it. It's sort of like the cruise liners today, where CCL came out, they had good earnings, and then RCL decides it's going to be in beast mode. So this little sympathy play here, people jump on it, and it's still hanging up there. So this thing is kind of leading me to I really want to look at shorting this thing. Really kind of look at maybe some of the news over the weekend and see how this. As I say, I kind of got to apologize a little bit here. I haven't done complete due diligence on this Intel ALTR deal, but if some things come out here, this XLNX could be very vulnerable for a nice quick pullback first thing on Monday, especially if it holds up here at the beginning or in the pre-market area. This one here, complete sympathy play. You're parked right at resistance. Probably would have went in short, but it just was a little too late in the day on a Friday for me to want to wrestle with this. Fortunately, so far it's held up, so I will be looking for a really nice spot to come into this XLNX and lean into it short on Monday. So anyway, there's a couple of ideas that can help you get started for the week. It's going to be a short week with Good Friday and everything. But you never know what's going to happen throughout the day. Sometimes you do your best to put a good plan together, and you have a basket of stocks, and then you wake up, and the whole entire theme of the market has changed. And if you want to be successful as a trader, you have to be able to adapt to that kind of stuff. You have to have a plan B and a plan C, and you have to be able to think on the fly and make decisions on the fly, because this market is ever changing. And you have to be ever changing and constantly evolve as a trader. There's never like this end point. So, I mean, if you're sitting there and you're struggling because, at one moment, maybe a month or so ago, a strategy was just killing it. You were killing it in the market. And then you get into the chop zone and you can't make any money, or you can't make any money in down markets, or you just keep getting squeezed on every short. I mean, if you're constantly having chronic problems with making consistent money as a stock trader, then visit thelincolnlist.com, take the 14-day free trial. Other than that, thanks for watching my video. Thanks for listening to me ramble. Have a great week of trading. Take care of yourself.